Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at why winning the lottery is the worst thing that can happen to you. Now, you may think the luckiest people in the world are lottery winners. Now, statistically, this is kind of correct, seeing as it's more likely to get struck by lightning than to win the lottery. But did you know that 1 in 3 lottery winners go broke? It sounds crazy, but that many people do lose all of their money and ruin their lives. But before we find out why and how, please subscribe and press the notification bell too. First off, we have relationships. Now, you may think that winning the lottery would be a great thing when it comes to relationships. But if you think your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband or wife would love you more if you won the lottery, then think again. Finances can already be tough in a relationship, but it's even worse when you win the lottery. First off, a lottery winner in a relationship makes a massive power imbalance. People already get stressed out when their husband or wife earns more money than them. So just imagine how bad it is if your husband or wife suddenly has millions of dollars in the bank. This can leave the person with less money feeling very undervalued. And if one person in a relationship has won the lottery and they're not married, then this can also be very complex. This can make some very nasty legal issues you need to wade through. One person winning the lottery creates a massive sense of entitlement to their partner. The partner of the lottery winner may feel that some of that money should belong to them. The New York Times actually coined the term the lottery curse. That's because a ginormous percentage of couples who win the lottery end up getting divorced. In 2009, Les and Samantha Scadding won $60 million, but only months later they divorced. David and Victoria Jones also won $3 million just a few months into their marriage. This led to splashing out on luxury items and even an affair which apparently ruined their life. Also in 2012, Adrian and Gillian Bayford won $200 million. But within 1 year, this couple had broken up despite having all the money in the world. Next up is greedy people. Do you think you know any greedy people? You may be saying no, but that might change when you win the lottery. You suddenly become the person everyone's going to for money. Also, friends and very distant family members may feel that they're entitled to your money. You also become the victim of lawsuits and scams, but we'll get into that later. But if you think other people being greedy is the only annoying thing lottery winners have to face, then think again. Oftentimes, the greediness can actually come from themselves. Take David Edwards, who won $27 million in 2006. He ended up getting greedy and went on ginormous shopping sprees. He bought things like limousine businesses, Lamborghinis, horses, and houses. But sadly, he ended up living in a grimy storage unit, poorer than he'd ever been. 70% of lottery winners go broke within 7 years, and that's because of their own greed a lot of the time. Also, if you win the lottery with other people, then this creates even more greed. In 2006, a woman named Sandra Haynes and a few colleagues won $224 million. But despite this, she ended up with only $6 million of that money. That's because she said she had to endure other greedy people trying to get her money. She says this caused lots of emotional pain, as a lot of the time it was people she loved. She said the people she loved the most turned into vampires and tried to suck out the money from her. I guess it's true when they say greed really does bring out the worst in people. Next up is enabler. You may think that having all the money in the world to do anything you want is a good thing, but sometimes the things people want to do are not good. It's no secret that money can be an enabler for very bad habits. Just think, if you don't need to work and can spend all your money on parties, substances and more things, that's not going to be a good life. Take one man named Jack Whitaker. He won $316 million. However, he wasted lots of it in clubs. Also, he left nearly $1 million in his car, but somebody stole his car and, of course, the money. Not only that, his daughter and granddaughter both passed away due to substance abuse. He blamed all of these bad things on his lottery winnings, so it's clear that money doesn't always buy happiness. In 2016, a lottery winner named Ronnie Music invested into a substance ring. Because of this, he was sentenced to 21 years in prison. He said he could have avoided getting into that kind of business, but the temptation was too strong as he had all this money. Not only that, a man named Michael Carroll won $15 million in 2002. However, he spent everything on exotic women, parties, substances, quad bikes and more. However, that same year he won the lottery, he went to prison because of possession. So it's clear that if you have all the money in the world and you're not too responsible, this is not a good mix and can ruin your life. Next up is danger. Did you know that the 6th richest man in the world, Mark Zuckerberg, spent $22 million on security last year? That's because when you have a lot of money, things can get dangerous. However, lottery winners don't often have giant security details, as they're often just regular people who've won lots of money. Sadly, there's many people who have had their lives taken just after receiving their lottery checks. In 2016 in Georgia, USA, a man named Gregory Birch was taken out in his own home. This was just 2 months after he won over $400K. The people who took him out actually intended to steal his money. In 2012, on the same day his lottery check was issued, a man named Uj Khan was taken out by cyanide. A man named William Post also won $16.2 million. But just 2 weeks later, his own brother hired a hitman to take him out. It's clear when you win the lottery, people get greedy and want to take your money by any means necessary. So if you do win the lottery, then you can't just go to the store normally. You need to have a security detail at all times and also be very paranoid. Next up is money mismanagement. Most lottery winners aren't geniuses or experts in finance. They're just regular people who all of a sudden have a ton of money. And because of this often means their finances are mismanaged. Many lottery winners think they have all the money in the world and don't bother setting any budgets. Lots of them also don't hire good financial advisors. And also lots of them don't have self-discipline, which leads to their money being stolen, lost, or spent recklessly. You may think that you have self-discipline, but if you suddenly have millions of dollars in the bank, that could change. Also, even when people do get financial advisors, sometimes they get bad ones which steal their money or lose it in bad investments. That's why the first thing all lottery winners should do is contact a good financial advisor. Experts say they should do this even before telling their entire families. And it sure does make sense, as simply sticking to a budget could prevent a lot of these lottery winners from going broke. Coming up next, we have It's Not As Much As You Think. If I told you you won $100 million, you may think that's $100 million in the bank, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not at all the case. Unfortunately, in most countries, lottery winnings are viewed as taxable income. That's why lottery winners have to get top-notch accountants and financial advisors. Recently, the winner of the $1.5 billion Powerball had to pay $400 million in taxes. Not only that, when you win the lottery, you don't get just one big lump sum. Instead, you get it spread out over many years. Of course, you can take it as a lump sum, but that means it's cut in half. For example, if you wanted the $1.5 billion Powerball in a lump sum, that would only be $930 million before taxes. Now, of course, that's still tons of money, but this leads to people thinking they have more than they really do. Then people overspend and get a big shock when it comes to tax day. So if you ever win the lottery, then be sure to get a great financial advisor and accountant to help you with the taxes. And while you're at it, throw some money over to me for giving you this great advice. Next up is trust issues. Do you have a hard time trusting people? Well, just imagine how much harder that would be if you had hundreds of millions of dollars in your bank account. Very rich people are known to keep a small circle, and that's because they often don't trust many people. According to lottery winners, they question every friend or relationship they ever have. They think, do these people like me for me, or are they just trying to get some money? Not only that, it can be very dangerous to become a lottery winner. Just take the guy whose brother hired a hitman to take him out. Not only that, you can become the victim of many scams. There are scammers who go out of their way to try and target people who have won the lottery. They may present it as a great investment opportunity only to scam them out of millions of dollars. And people are also known to try and sue lottery winners for ridiculous things. They may try and jump in front of your car while you're driving because they know you have money. Or they may take a Facebook post from years earlier and say you were defaming them to try and get some of that cash. Sadly, when you win the lottery and you're public about it, you can't live a normal life. So that's why it's best to either keep it under wraps and also keep a very small circle of friends. But even then, you never know who you could trust and who wants some money from you. Coming up next is looked down on. Of course, winning the lottery isn't a choice. It's just something that happens to some very lucky people. But despite this, many people actually look down on lottery winners. One lottery winner named Steve Granger said he would walk around at parties and hear people go, "Ugh, there's those lottery winners." People think that lottery winners are very entitled and didn't have to work for their winnings. Now, that may be true, but it's not their fault they didn't have to work for their money. But this can lead to some lottery winners feeling very awkward and guilty about their sudden winnings. This can cause anxiety and also something called sudden wealth syndrome. This is where people are very emotionally unhappy despite having lots of money after winning the lottery. This can lead to them getting depressed and then self-medicating with things like drink and substances. Next up, we have motivation reducer. Many people work hard out of necessity. If they don't work hard, they won't be able to cover the rent and buy food. But when you're a lottery winner, many people think, I'm rich and I never have to work ever again. Now, that may sound good, but eventually that gets very boring and dull. People often quit their job as soon as they win the lottery, but this causes them to not work hard. If they have tons of money in the bank which has come from nowhere, this leads to them having no motivation. Also, they sometimes feel bad about their winnings, seeing as they didn't have to put in any hard work to get it. According to a study by the University of Massachusetts, lottery winners get a thrill when they win, but then nothing else in their life can ever live up to this thrill. They only ever feel the excitement of winning the lottery once, and from then on, it's complete boredom. And finally on the list of reasons why winning the lottery isn't always a good thing, we have money can't buy happiness. We've all heard the phrase money can't buy happiness, and you may have shrugged that off as a thing poor people say. But take it from some of the world's wealthiest, money really can't buy happiness. Donna Micken, who won $35 million in 2007, says she feels very judged everywhere she goes. She says she doesn't feel happy at all and wishes she could have a normal family and friends instead of having all this money. Not only that, a big chunk of lottery winners actually take their own lives. You may think that having all the money in the world equals all the happiness in the world, but unfortunately that's not the way it works. So based on this new knowledge, vote in the poll in the top right corner, would you want to win the lottery or not? Personally, I still would want to win the lottery just to see how it feels, but maybe that's a bad way to think. If you guys want some more amazing videos, check out my second channel. There's fun life hacks on there and there'll be a link to it on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching, check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.